Hey, it's Miguel. Hello, Emily. How are you doing this morning? So, today is November 8th, 2018, and it's a Thursday. And I hope you're doing really good. Let's see, this coming weekend, we have the Veterans Day holiday, and I'm looking forward to having a day off. That sounds like a nice time on Monday. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I don't necessarily have detailed plans, though I always manage to come up with something. Even if that something is nothing, I'll come up with something that'll be satisfactory. Recently I've been trying to do a lot more planning in my day. I've been taking time out to put pen to paper and think about how I want to orchestrate my day. I've also been reading a productivity book about creating highlights during the day, at least one highlight of your day that makes the day really special. And so far I've not been doing a very good job of it. Honestly, I have a hard time coming up with what I want the highlight of the day to be. Mostly, it turns out that for the last few days, the highlights of my day have just been my workouts, my workouts at the gym. And I don't know if that's good enough to qualify as a highlight. For me, it is because working out at the gym is just great. It's like a wonderful pastime that I really enjoy. And, I feel really proud of myself at the end of my workouts. And you know what? I just got to thinking that perhaps one thing that could be a highlight is just the very fact that I planned my day, that I planned my highlight. And that sounds really true for me. Like, oh yeah, because planning my day is it's something that's really important to me. And it's something that I value and something that I appreciate in myself when I do it. That I have the self care and self discipline necessary to plan my day out and manage my time like that. It's wonderful. You know, I'm getting motivated right now to plan my day. Like, why am I making this video instead of planning my day? No, I'm making this video for a really good reason, and that is to connect with you, to share some time with you, Emily, and just sort of, you know, meet face to face, mind to mind with, just who you are and just sort of understand you better. And also sort of take sort of note of where I am in this whole thing. So, really good, really valuable, sort of upbuilding at the same time. And I also have an interest in building a legacy, right? I'm loving this YouTube video platform where every video I make, it's a video to posterity. It's a video to the future. It's a video to not just me, but to my children, and not to my just to my children, but to my children's children, and my children's children's children after that. I mean, what could be better than that? I hear talk about presidents leaving a legacy. Well, and they do that by going to war or whatever they do. Making the history books about being the 45th president of the United States. And, that's all great and good, but I think there's more to leaving a legacy than basically impacting history. Why not leave a legacy of love and gratitude and peace and enjoyment? That's the kind of legacy I want to leave. And it looks like I'm doing it right now. Again, you know what? Maybe making this video is the highlight of my day today. I would not be surprised. So I'm glad to know that. So how have you been keeping up with this daylight savings time going away. Man, it's been dark in the evenings, let me tell you. And it's like, okay, what do I do? I'm at home. It's nighttime and I'm sort of hanging out at home. And I don't quite want to go outside because it's dark out there. People can trip out there on the sidewalk and on rocks and stuff. But you know what? I guess what I've got to do is brave the darkness and get out there and do something. That's actually not the case really, because I'm actually out doing stuff all the time. Like yesterday evening, I had my machining class, right? I'm taking a survey of manufacturing and machining class at Allen Hancock College in the evenings. And so I was up to all hours last night working on my machining project, working on my piece of aluminum 6061 T6, right? Drilling holes with drill bits. So anyway, that's good stuff. So I had a little special thing today set up, and that is, yesterday I spoke about Christmas foods, right? It's that time of year again, right? November, December, and Christmas is one of my favorite holidays. In fact, Christmas is my favorite holiday. And so we've been exploring the folklore and the legend associated with this wonderful holiday. And so we've explored things like Christmas plants. We've explored things like the origin of the Christmas tree. We've explored things like the first Christmas tree and Christmas animals, right? And now we are exploring Christmas foods, right? Arguably one of the best parts of Christmas, right? I'm sorry, my phone's just going wacky here. There we go. All right, so we're now exploring Christmas foods. And yesterday we explored things like wassail and roast wild boar, right? Now, both those things I admitted I have not had in a long, long time or ever. Okay. I've never eaten wild boar. And of course, I try to eat vegan. And so there's really no hope for me now. And wassail, which I said I hadn't tried. And that was true. And guess what? I've got a special treat for us today. And look what I picked up at Trader Joe's yesterday. I don't know if you can read that, but that says wassail, winter wassail by Trader Joe's. So I literally have a half gallon. Why is it so much? No, 2 quarts. A half gallon of wassail in my hands. I have winter wassail, and this is what the label says. It says it's a spiced holiday libation. It says a festive beverage blend of apple, blackcurrant, and lemon juice from concentrate infused with holiday spices and orange peel. Wow, gotta try some of that. So this is what the ingredients are. It says water, cane sugar. This is gonna be tasty and sweet. Apple juice concentrate, blackcurrant and juice concentrate, citric acid, natural flavor, spices, cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, cardamom, ginger, lemon juice concentrate, and orange peel. Gotta have that orange peel, man. So here we go. I'm gonna do a little taste test. Here is a glass with wassail in it. Now I think normally wassail is served heated. This is not heated. It's room temperature. But in a way, it is heated. It's heated to 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so let me give you a sense of what I'm smelling, what the bouquet is like. Well, I definitely smell clove. There is a lot of clove in this drink. Clove is a really powerful spice. It doesn't take much clove for you to sort of... I also smell some cinnamon. Definitely cinnamon. It has a really warm, spiced scent that reminds me of like a chai tea. A chai tea is a spiced black tea, and the spices are very similar to these: cinnamon, clove. Okay, so that smells really good. I could go on smelling it. How many minutes have I got to spend smelling it? Well, let me tell you, the pumpkin pie spices, like the cinnamon and the clove, they just smell so good. Do I smell orange peel? I do not. Oh yeah. Now that is really good. You know, the flavor is not as deep as I had anticipated. But it's bright. Yeah, there's like a pungent orange. It's definitely apple juice. I can barely smell the hint of berry. It's a really primarily a sweet juice, and it's got the lemon is good. This is a very bright, lemony, sweet. It's a sweet drink. You know, it's a really good spice cider. Oh yeah, this is really good. Oh yeah. You can really smell those spices or taste those spices. And you know what? I'm surprised at how light it is. Oh, I'm going to enjoy drinking that. That's really good. I would, on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it an 8 or a 9. Probably a 9. It's light enough. It's not like heavy and like dark, and it's actually quite a light flavor. And oh yeah, it leaves a fantastic aftertaste. I feel like my mouth has been sort of spiced with cinnamon and clove. Oh yeah. And guess what I've got too? I've got some artificial flavor. Right? I've got some peppermint extract. Man, that would be amazing in something like this. So maybe I can throw down some peppermint extract in that too. So, oh, that's right. I'm going to go crazy with peppermint. Now, I remember, Emily, you were so adorable when you were a kid. You used to call peppermint Christmas. It tastes like Christmas. And I don't know if you remember that at all, but it was so adorable. You wouldn't call it peppermint, you'd call it Christmas taste. And that is cool. So yes, I'm also going to get some Christmas flavored goodies that we can sample. And anyway, while the topic is Christmas food, let's go ahead and read a little bit more from this book, Hark, a Christmas sampler about Christmas foods. So, like I was mentioning, yesterday we talked about wassail, and I just had some wassail, and we talked about eating wild boar. And today we're going to discuss other Christmas foods. All right, here we go. So, Christmas food number 1, pies. Well, first off, let me say that I love pies. I love mincemeat pies, I love pumpkin pies, apple pies, cherry pies, you name it. I love lemon meringue pies, pecan pies. Oh, I'm a big fan of pecan pies. So, I'm really going to have to do some sampling this season with all the different pies that are available. And I also like breads, right? Banana breads, spiced breads, things like that. But anyway, we're talking about pies right now. I'm getting carried away. I love Christmas foods. All right, so let's see what this section has to say about pies. Pies, like Little Jack Horner's Christmas pie, often had plums in them. Oh, man. Okay, let me tell you about plums. Plums have an amazing ability to make people regular. So, can you imagine having prune pies all the time? That would be amazing. Talk about entertainment. That's an entertaining food. Okay, also suet, sugar, apples, molasses, currants, raisins, and spices. Wow. There were Christmas peacock pies, mince pies, and mutton pies as well. An old English saying was, "The devil himself dare not appear during Christmas for fear of being baked in a pie." We think of pies as being round, but early Christmas pies were oblong or manger shaped and often had a small figure of baby Jesus on the crust. Huh, I had no idea. Plum pudding, oddly enough, originally did not have plums in it, or at least what we call plums. The word plum originally meant a dried grape or raisin. The puddings also had meat broth, chopped cow tongue, fruit juice, wine, and spices. Often, silver coins were hidden inside the pudding as well. What? This is such brand new information. I'm stunned at my ignorance. It's fun. It's funny how ignorant we all are. We're just walking around empty heads. This is amazing. I had no idea that there were any such thing as peacock pies. Holy cow. And what is this about mutton pies? That means a mutton pie. Now, mutton is, I believe, a sheep, some kind of sheep meat. Hey Google, what is mutton?
According to Wikipedia, lamb, hogget, and mutton are the meat of domestic sheep at different ages.
So the meat of domestic sheep. That is mutton. I was correct. We think of pies as being round, but early Christmas pies were oblong or manger shaped. Now, I don't know what a manger shaped pie is. Maybe it's shaped in in like a house with, say, a block bottom, a square bottom, and a triangular top. Maybe that's what they mean by manger shaped. And a small figure of baby Jesus on the crust. Huh, had no idea. And that plum pudding basically was raisin pudding or even grape pudding. Fascinating. And there were all kinds of puddings too. They had meat broth pudding, chopped cow tongue, fruit juice, wine, and spices. Wow. Pretty amazing stuff. And let's see. Now we're going to talk about another form of Christmas foods called Christmas cookies. Okay. Christmas cookies were many and various, of course. In Germany, hard, spicy Pfeffernuss are popular. Gingerbread men are also favorites. In Saxony, the people made sugar-sprinkled Stollen. Hey Google, what is Stollen?
According to Wikipedia, Joseph Stalin was a Soviet revolutionary and politician of Georgian ethnicity.
Well, not Stalin. Hey Google, what is stolen?
Here's the definition of stolen. Past participle of steal.
I don't think I'm saying this word right. I'm trying to talk about a ginger sprinkled cookie, but I'm getting the definition of Stalin. Okay, French Christmas cookies contain whole wheat flour, brown sugar, and dates. In Belgium, good children find an angel cake bun under their pillow Christmas morning. Oh yeah. Danish peppermint or peppernut cookies are tiny. Peppernut? I've never heard of peppernut. In Portugal, almond paste cookies are offered to carolers at Epiphany. In Switzerland, animal-shaped pastries are hung up on the tree. Oplatki, thin wafers blessed by priests and stamped with figures of the Nativity, have long been popular in Poland. On Christmas Eve, when the first star appears, oplatki are broken and the pieces distributed to the family members. Mexican cookies contain anjonjoli seeds. Now, what's interesting about this entire passage is that it has a lot of keywords in it without any definition. Like, I don't know what an Ajahn seed is. Okay, they've got Ajahn seeds. I don't know, never heard of Ajahn seeds. And I feel really sorry for the the almond paste cookies that were offered to carolers at Epiphany in Portugal. I've had almond paste cookies before and not into them. I'm sorry. Anyway, wow, that's cool. You know, what's awesome about the holidays is that there are so many desserts, right? We've got the pies, we've got the cookies, we've got the Stalin. We've also got the wassail, and oh man, how I would love to just consume. You know, it's really easy to do. This food culture we have is just so generous in the United States. We can just eat whatever we want to eat. And it's a challenge, really, to manage one's weight and manage one's nutrition with all this good stuff around, right? All this amazing tasting food, everything at our fingertips. And, you know, it just takes self-discipline. You know, I'm with you. I'm feeling it, man. I wish I could have a pizza every night, but I can't, right? Or we ought not. We have bodies that we need to protect and keep healthy, right? All right, so that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed going through the Christmas baked goods, pies and cookies, right? Good stuff. So, as usual, let's move on into our section segment called Peaceful Living, where we go through Mary McKenzie's book, mostly just for just for common interest. Let's see what Mary McKenzie has to say today, just out of curiosity. So today is November 8th, and the quotation for today is by Frances Hodgson Burnett. And the quote is, "It is astonishing how short a time it takes for wonderful things to happen." Yeah, that's true. You know, yeah, it doesn't take a lot of time for wonderful things to happen, though sometimes it can be quite a long time duration between those special times. So, Mary McKenzie's subtitle for her passage is Joy, One Step at a Time. Many people think about a goal and feel overwhelmed and lose hope that they will ever attain it. That happens to me too. Years ago, my goal was to learn how to be in loving relationships with people. Oh man, Mary. She's so funny. Oh my goodness gracious. She could be a little dramatic sometimes. Okay, that was her goal. How to be in loving relationships with people. Okay, let's see what she has to say. It seemed impossible at the time. This goes back into her theme where she talks about the past and how things weren't so great. But I started to work toward it. I tried many avenues to attain it. Many times I thought I would never succeed, she says. Through nonviolent communication and a few other programs, I have learned that success comes closer with each step that we take toward the fulfillment of our goals. I may not need to meet my goal today, but I do want to begin the process today. It is amazing how taking that one step can shift our life and bring joy if we are present in the moment. Look around you right now and notice the beauty, the love, and the joy in your life. They exist here and now, but you won't feel them until you acknowledge them. And that's really true. You know, the human brain is pretty amazing in that if you're thinking about a subject, you are feeling about that topic, right? You're experiencing that topic or that subject and you're experiencing even the nuances of that subject. But if you happen to not be thinking about that subject, let's say you're thinking about something else, that other thing vanishes. It completely disappears. Have you noticed this about the human brain? So, when I'm focusing on some part of life, all other parts of life cease to exist. Have you recognized this? This is an amazing, empowering aspect of the human brain, and I just wanted to share it with you. So if ever something is bothering you, just stop thinking about it. Think about something else, and guess what? That thing disappears completely. It vanishes until you decide to think about it again. Or it's sort of, your brain has this way of sort of say nudging you and say, hey, by the way, we got something to work on. We got this subject over here. And yeah, your brain will sort of interrupt your subject, the current subject matter, to sort of remind you, hey, there's something over here that you need to pay attention to. But it doesn't do it that often. And you can focus like a laser on things that are important to you and bring you joy and happiness, and get very few reminders from the brain that you ought to be paying attention to something else. So I just wanted to let you know about that as a tool for you and your personal development. And you can also use it to your detriment as well. It's so powerful. You can use the tool however you want. And the tool is the fact that when you focus on something, the rest of the world disappears. It just vanishes. When I'm here focusing on you, for the duration of this video, I'm thinking about you and only you, and I'm not thinking about other stuff, right? I'm not thinking about the Santa Barbara Zoo or the Moxie Museum, or I'm not thinking about Mars. I'm not thinking about the Hubble Space Telescope. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about us. I'm thinking about our connection. And this is where I want to place my attention right now. And that's just, it's about seeking values. It's about priorities in life and what's important to you. So that's my recommendation or suggestion to you. And that is that you recognize the power you have to focus your attention on things that you want in your life, and and you can do that to the exclusion of pretty much everything else. Until your brain taps on the back of your head and says, hey, pay attention to this, please. Which it will. And which you can thoughtfully decline to answer the door. It's just one of the perks of being a human being, I guess. But yeah, we have this amazing ability to be distracted. And, I actually think, I think that distraction, the monkey mind that some people call it, is essentially a sign of human health. It is mental health. And, here I was sort of making light of this idea that, when you focus on something, everything else vanishes, and how wonderful that is. I think the brain knows this. Like, if I could just think about Christmas food all day, I could just think about pumpkin pie, right? I would just spend hours and hours of the day just contemplating pumpkin pie. But the brain has other things in mind. It wants you to continually move to other subjects so that, in a way, it scans its environment, always looking for threats, always looking for things that are worth pursuing. And, that's a sign of mental health. When you focus or over-focus on one subject a little bit too much, it can be of detriment to you long term. So it's like there's this balance, right? There's this balance of focusing and being distracted, focusing and not focusing. And, the question is, where do we find that balance? There are people who over focus on things like tragedies or politics, and who knows what they over focus on. They over focus on their health, so they've got health anxiety. This is a problem. So, yeah, so in your own way, you've got to develop a style. You end up developing a style of how much you focus and how much during the day you are not focused. And each state has benefits, right? Sometimes it's good to be in a distractible state. It's like I mentioned earlier. I think it's healthy to be in a relatively distractible state, moving from subject to subject. What that means is every time you move into a new subject, what happens is you have an open mind, right? There's like, oh, I'm present to this now. Oh, I'm present to that now. And that is actually what I'd call the natural state of human being, of the human mind, and that is just openness to whatever's going on. Like, I'm looking around my room right now, and as a human being in his natural state, I'm just sort of taking it all in. I'm open to whatever is there. There's what's on the walls, there's the smells and the feelings, and I'm just open to it and I'm taking it all in as an observer. That's what human beings do. We are observers. We constantly monitor, and we do so from a neutral standpoint with a neutral attitude. I think that is the natural state of human beings, and this is our healthy state. This is a healthy state where we're just paying attention to the world around us, reacting in effective ways with our reality, and in an open-minded state. This is human nature at its best. Now, when things get tweaked is when you start over focusing on something, like I was mentioning, like a tragedy or even your own happiness. You over focus like a laser on it, and you spend hours and hours every day cultivating that single attitude. And there's something a little bit artificial about that. Something that that attitude also gets ingrained and it gets developed. People, when you overfocus on anything, it could be a detriment to your health, physically and mentally. And so, what's great about it too is, if I focus on Christmas pie all the time, I'd get a lot of enjoyment out of that. But ideally, from a mental health standpoint, it's good to sort of pull out of that and get distracted a little bit by the things that are going on around me. Like, oh, I don't know, like my desire to eat, desire to drink water or breathe, right? So anyway, that's my statement about that. Oh, but so now there's a thought for the day. And here's the thought for the day, November 8th. And the thought is, acknowledge and enjoy 3 areas of your life that meet your need for joy, love, and beauty today. You know what? Why don't we do that right now? Let's do that right now. And I'll just let you know, joy, love, and beauty. Okay. I'll just talk about and think about areas of my life right now that bring me joy, love, and beauty. Okay, for joy, making this video. As you can tell, I'm joyful. I really enjoy spending time with you and focusing on you, and it's great stuff. And also, I enjoy communicating with others and social interactions. And joy comes from my tribe. I've got a great tribe of family and friends that I spend time with. I just saw a big group of them last Sunday night, and really enjoyed my time with them. And I'm looking forward to spending time with some other friends this coming Friday. And then also on Sunday, I'm going to have even more joy because I'm going to go to a Thanksgiving vegan potluck with some friends, and it's going to be great. And I'm going to just have... So that's right now. I'm just focusing on the joy, right? This is what is bringing me joy right now. Interestingly enough, for me, joy comes from my interaction with other people, whether it's virtual or real or face-to-face. That's where I get a lot of my joy. Also, other places I get my joy is from education. I'm proud of the fact that I went to school yesterday and spent a lot of time on the mill, milling aluminum. And so that brings me joy. And also, I talked about my workouts, how the workouts are the highlights of my day. Bam, more joy. So, joy. Now, love. What's kind of funny is that sometimes when I receive love or give love, I feel joy. So, those are intimately connected values. But where does love come from? Well, ultimately it comes from ourselves, right? Love, self-appreciation is self-care is something that's really important. All love originates from our minds, and that's where that emotion originates from. We, as human beings, we project our internal material onto the world, and we basically are a love factory. And so, what are the things that are giving me love right now? Oh man, well, almost all the things that I receive joy from. Love. Love is about appreciation and gratitude for the things around us. Not just people, but also our life situation. And, for me, it's my work. I love that. And certainly, I have people who have been supporting me lately, and I love them, and I love my family, and I love you. And so not only do I love these people and myself, they bring me joy as well. So there's a really strong connection there. And what is the last thing? Beauty. Well, gosh, beauty is everywhere. Beauty is really in the eye of the beholder. For me, technology is beautiful, and so I love looking at my camera. What a beautiful camera. My Canon M50, mirrorless camera. And let's see what else. I am there's beauty in so many things. Every time I look in the mirror, it's like, wow, what a handsome dude. And there's so many beautiful people out in the world. Animals, which are beautiful. Sometimes I go out to my car and I look at the ravens that are up on the telephone wires and the electric power lines, and I just am loving the beauty of the birds, right? Those black, beautiful birds, so intelligent and strong. And there's just beauty everywhere. There's beauty in artistic creation and artistic expression. And everything is art. Art is all around. It's almost everything I see. And of course, one thing I think is really beautiful is the sky. I'm a big sky watcher. I love seeing the clouds and the stars and the fog and those environmental changes that occur, sunsets and sunrises, and I love feeling the wind. It's just so beautiful. There's so much beauty around. Beauty is just everywhere. It's in the design of the furniture and our homes, and it's in our human hands, right? In our human bodies. This hand is beautiful. I just look at it and how effortlessly it moves. It is really just a miracle of beauty. And there's beauty everywhere. So thankful. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Mary Mackenzie. I'm very thankful for that passage that you provided today. So I was thinking that maybe we could continue by answering some questions. That's right. Let's answer some questions. Now, the reason I've got this question and answer period here is because I want you to learn a little bit about me. I'm interested in you understanding where I'm coming from in terms of my experience, and maybe these are questions that you've never would have thought to ask me, and I think it's instructive, right? And sometimes I might have lessons learned to convey to you about one or another topic, and this is an opportunity to do that. Okay, so question. Question number 276. Would you survive in a world of dinosaurs? That's a good question. Would I survive in a world of dinosaurs? No. No, I wouldn't. Reptiles are, I'll tell you what, they are sneaky and powerful. I think about alligators. Living in a world of alligators, I don't know. Tyrannosaurus rexes, I don't know, Triceratops. Here's the thing. A lot of people live in places like the savannas of Africa, and they survive and thrive. So I suppose I wouldn't necessarily survive if I were alone. But if I were part of a tribe, I think who already had their folk ways, that is, the ways that they live their lives, then yeah, I could probably do it. But I don't think I'd be able to do it alone. But who knows? I'd have to find some safety away from the dinosaurs. Okay, question number 277. Have you ever saved someone's life? No, I don't think I have ever saved anyone's life. Now, I might have inadvertently saved someone's life. And I might have indirectly saved someone's life. I mean, every time I drive down the road and I veer off to the left just in time to avoid a car, I basically save their lives. The people who are in oncoming traffic. So maybe in some sense I've saved tens of thousands of lives by not crashing into them with my car accidentally. So no, I don't think I've really ever saved anyone's life. Maybe one of these days I will. Question number 278. Do you know how to perform CPR? And yes, I do. I was trained how to perform CPR. Oh, I guess it was about 3 or 4 years ago. So what that means is, since I think those certifications are only valid for 1 year, I need to get retrained. Question number 279. Have you ever been to a desert? Oh, yeah. I lived in a desert. I lived in the high desert. So I lived in places where there were cactuses on the ground. And I've certainly visited deserts. Here in the Western United States, there are a lot of deserts. There's the Sonoran Desert. There's Death Valley. There are lots of deserts around here, and I've been to them. Many of them here in Southern California. Question number 280. Have you ridden camels? There is a chance I might have ridden a camel when I was a boy at the Albuquerque Zoo, when my grandma, I think, took me to the zoo. I think there were camel rides one time, and I think I was on a camel at the camel rides. It was probably only a few minutes long, and I was probably only about 10 or 12 years old. But I think that counts, don't you think? Oh yeah, that totally counts. Question number 281. Have you ever flown in a helicopter? That's a good question. I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever flown in a helicopter. Nope. I think I've flown in small planes before, but never a helicopter. Question number 282. Do you enjoy gossip? Yeah, I do. But at the same time, I recognize how futile it is. When I get my hand, I just can't trust the information, right? So it is kind of juicy, in the sense that it's a creative story, but also the level of trust I have for that information is really low, and I basically end up dismissing it. So do I enjoy it? Sure. I mean, everybody does. But I also recognize how untrustworthy it can be, and I don't rely on it. Question number 283. Have you cheated on a quiz or test? Have I cheated on a quiz or test? I don't think I have. When I was a kid, growing up in school, cheating on quizzes was definitely against the rules. And So ever since I've been a kid, I've sort of been indoctrinated into not cheating on quizzes, and I don't. Okay, and what's the point of it anyway? You either know the information or you don't. And, if you don't know, it's important to communicate that to someone else. Question number 284. Has a film ever made you emotional? Oh, all the time. In fact, the most recent film that was really emotional for me was the Mr. Rogers film, where it talked about Fred Rogers and just who he was as he was filming Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, that show on PBS. And I was just loving that film. That was just a great film. Very emotional. I was crying throughout the whole thing, really. Next question. Question number 285. Do you consider yourself emotional? If I did consider myself emotional, it would be sort of emotional on the positive side. I think I have a tendency to be a little bit too happy. Why is that? I don't know. It's something that comes really easy to me. And now I know people who are sad all the time, and I know people who are angry all the time, really judgmental. And I just am not that way. I'm usually quite neutral or sort of jolly. And it's just the way I've always been, and a way I continue to be. Turns out, from a personality standpoint, I have an ability to express joy. I've learned this, that is sort of in greater measure than most people. And why that is, I'm not sure. Anyway, but yeah, I do consider myself emotional, and I lean toward emoting positive emotions as opposed to negative ones. Question number 286. Are you forgetful? And I think that most people would say no, that I'm not, if they knew me. But at the same time, I am personally, my own view, quite challenged when it comes to remembering stuff. But I also recognize that I have a really good memory, and that's because I've practiced, right? I practice on a regular basis my memory skills. I recognize having a good memory is a function of the time and energy you put into developing that skill. And so it's not something that I take for granted. It's something that I actively work on. So for that reason. But am I forgetful? No, I don't think I'm really forgetful. Question number 287. Do you keep a personal journal? And yes and no. I have a bullet journal, which is essentially my work notebook. It's just a notebook. And now I do have a little book that I keep back in here in the back of my pocket. I jot notes on it, and other stuff, numbers, things like that. It's pretty handy to have a notebook. I like writing stuff down as opposed to putting it in my cell phone. Although I do that too. Okay, what is the next question? Question number 288. Are you a Disney fan? Well, as a matter of fact, I am. I enjoy the products of the Disney International Business Corporation. And particularly their animated films. I've enjoyed those for years, certainly my entire life. And films such as Pocahontas and The Little Mermaid and shows like that I've really enjoyed. So Beauty and the Beast is a good example. I've also been to a lot of their plays, their theater productions that they've made based on those movies. Like I remember I went to Disneyland one time and saw a theater production of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which was really entertaining, very memorable, and so enjoyable to watch. And so, yeah, I am. In fact, I hope to go to Disneyland sometime within the next month and a half. Okay. Question number 289. Which Disney movie is your favorite? That's a really good question. I was just considering them. I would guess my favorite is probably The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid. Yep. Now, what I almost said was The Hunchback of Notre Dame. But I think I could relate more to The Little Mermaid. Yeah, it's more fanciful, more enjoyable. I also like The Lion King. Boy, it would be a toss-up between The Lion King and The Little Mermaid. It could be The Lion King. Maybe they're just tied for first place. Okay, question number 290. Have you ever climbed a tree? Well, of course. As a child, I climbed lots of trees. I basically lived in a tree as a child. My family had 7 acres of land that surrounded our home, and there were a lot of trees, particularly plum trees. And I would literally put houses, make houses in the trees, tree houses, in the plum trees, and I would just hang out for hours playing around in the plum trees. Pretty amazing stuff. I must say, my childhood was rocking. It pretty much rocked. There are a lot of aspects of it that were not that great, but most of the time, the memories I have are just spectacular memories. And, it's funny how kids' lives these days are so much different than my life. I don't know. All right, next question. Do you live by a certain philosophy? If I do live by a certain philosophy, do I live by a certain philosophy? Well, yeah, I would say that I live by the philosophy of Stoicism. Now, as I understand it, I need to caveat that. I think of Stoicism as really the precursor to cognitive behavioral therapy, and I think Stoicism can bring a lot to the human experience. Now, I don't necessarily abide by the tenets of Stoicism like a religion or anything like that, but it's more like a philosophical underpinning, sort of more of an understanding, sort of more of a direction or perspective, and that's how I sort of relate to Stoicism. Now, otherwise, do I live by another certain philosophy? Yes, there is one other philosophy that I abide by, and that is the Protestant work ethic. And I think there's something extremely valuable and virtuous about work, period. And and I'm talking about schoolwork, I'm talking about work, managing your personal life in terms of the things that are happening in it. And there's this, I have a real love for the Protestant work ethic. And so I'm always interested in being busy and doing stuff, and that's part of my philosophy of life, philosophy of living. I think that that's a really great way to go about one's life, always keeping one's hands busy, and so that's important to me. Now, I wish there was a better word for Protestant work ethic than that phraseology, but it's something that everybody understands. And next question. Question number 292. Have you licked a battery out of curiosity? Oh, totally. Who doesn't lick 9-volt batteries? Question number 293. Do you play golf? The answer to that question is no. Now, I really enjoy a nice game of putt-putt golf. always open to playing that game with somebody. And in fact, in my latest letter, Emily, I suggested we go ahead and go to Boomers in Santa Maria and play putt-putt golf. And that sounds like a lot of fun to me. I'd be totally into doing that. Put a nice colored golf ball in my hand and a little putter, and I'm good to go. So, but otherwise, like playing golf on a regular golf course, a lot of people like to do that. They go to the greens and I'm just not a fan. Sorry. I've done it before. I've done it with friends. I've done it with my dad. And it's just not that interesting. A good walk spoiled. Okay, so question number 294. How many times a day do you brush your teeth? That's a good question. Nowadays, I've got braces, as you can see. And so basically every time I eat, I immediately brush my teeth afterwards just to keep my braces clean. And so I brush my teeth right now at least 3 times a day. And that's the minimum number. Because if I have like a snack or if I have something else, I'll freshen my mouth by brushing it. So I have really good oral hygiene right now. I use my water flosser and I brush. And my teeth are looking pretty fine right now. Okay, the next question. How many times a day do you shower? Question number 295. Well, on my workout days, I'll shower after my workouts. And then one of my workouts is swimming. And I shower before I get into the pool, and then I shower after I get into the pool. So for the days that I go swimming, I shower literally 3 times a day. Just showers. And that doesn't count me being completely submerged in water in the swimming pool for 30 minutes. So that's a very wet day on my swimming days. Lots of wet showers. And on days where I have workouts, I'm taking a shower on those days too, right after my workouts. So I'm taking a shower in the morning typically and after my workouts. So 2 showers a day on those days. And days that I'm not swimming or working out, I take 1 shower. Question 296. Do you prefer a bath over a shower? Totally no. I enjoy showers. Baths, I just don't get. It's just, I prefer to be up and going and moving, and thankfully showers exist. If I had to take a bath every day, I don't know what I would do with myself. So I'm really pleased to have to take regular showers. I love showers. Baths, not so much. Now, every once in a while, I'll enjoy time in a hot tub. There is some benefit to them, but then, I get a little bit too warm. After about 5 or 10 minutes max, it's gotten too warm in that tub and I have to exit. And I also like spending time in hot tubs with others, and that's a lot of fun. It kind of reminds me that I have to go to a water park soon. I know it's wintertime, but hey, it's California. I can go to water parks anytime I want, right? Okay, what's next? Question number 297. Do you own a jacuzzi or pool? And the answer is no, I don't. I don't own a jacuzzi. Well, anyway, Emily, I'm going to wrap this up, and I hope you have a wonderful day today. And thank you for being with me while I try out this wassail. And, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful Thanksgiving, and a wonderful day today, and a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Veterans Day weekend. I just want to let you know that I love you, I cherish you and our relationship, our connection. I want you to know that you don't have to change anything, that I accept you totally as you are, and there's no need to change yourself to make yourself more appealing to me or whatever. I just have this huge sense of love and acceptance for where we are, and it's just where we happen to be now, and things will unfold and develop as they do. So Anyway, I wish you peace, I wish you joy, and a wonderful life.